right in the heart with a silver bullet.
Yeah. I think they're plotting on me. Don't bite their feet when they enter the lab. I feel a cold stare. Think I ain't looking. Maybe because I'm focused. No hands out for the hopeless. Funny bullets, I caught some shots. Another piece of the puzzle connecting dots. You can find the truth of laughter and liquor. One more shot to an empty bottle. If you gon' walk it like a model for me, like I don't see her intentions all in my scope. At a time we were just friends with advice to land. Nothing special, I was dead broke, but we still got hope. Don't take my words, just pack and issue that raw dough. Just pack and issue that raw dough. Pack and issue that raw dough. To the people that listen to my people, they know that I do care. With their hands in the air, rocking side to side. Now my work, yeah, time to ride. Where my niggas at? My niggas ain't my niggas no more. Push me to the bag, label to change up his swag. I do it for us, I'm pro-black. Don't rock it the shit get. Wouldn't be so all type of African shit. Just rock a table fade, swagger tailor-made. Polo collars and fly kicks. Just polo collars and fly kicks. Exclusive shit, not get wet. Keep it coming, just don't stop. The revolution starts with shot.
I'm respectful to my people, and I want to represent my people, and I don't want to be a bad representative. I can't be blind, let the blind lead the blind, we're all falling shit.
Now my mama said, baby, act like you got sense. They act like I only act right for Lent. Been living in purgatory, but I'm nosing for heaven. Not sure if I'm getting in, cause I ain't paid a reverend. Who looking at me when I ain't looking, judging my character? I can't put down my guard on this planet, back in the camera. Ready for my close-up, the lens gets bigger. Won't play me on BET, cause I am not a nigga. My heart is like a powder keg, ready to explode. Smell like strange food, cause I'm America's cologne. It started with the hello, think you're a nice fellow. You're ballin' like Carmelo, you treat you like a fellow. L.A.R. be the star, turn a rapper to a prophet. Bulletproof 306, keep your hands in your pocket. Jordan rules for my life, you contain them, can't stop them. I'm niggas sky high, so the clouds can't drop them. My life is like a miracle, my words are just imperial. I'm edible, I'm audible, I'm digital, I'm visual. Spit like Komodo, go like Bruce Lee, Roy B. And the mean as bad as Mofo in the dojo. Life is so amazing and raps like Jesus. They said hip hop is dead, but today look like Easter.
Now I wake up in the morning, I'm black and handsome as ever. However, you see me as strange fruit, will it ever happen, not again. A crook and just a homicide, he know it's self-defense. But since I'm black and since he white, he got no common sense. That's 1969, and he ain't Jesus Christ. He ain't coming back on Easter, he ain't got a second life. You know I'm right? Hold up, look. Now the sirens in my window here, pull it over. License and registration, gun ain't never in the holster. Plus, that man black too, he wanna act too. A nigga with an attitude and a badge too. A couple tattoos, hoping I act a fool so he can squeeze too. But it ain't nothing different, they the same thing. They pull him over, he gon' get the same thing. Maybe 2 up in his brain, 21 gun salute. Last words was I'm a copy, last heard fuck you. And he ain't coming back, you know I'm black like Jesus. But I ain't coming back for Easter, y'all say goodbye. Everybody cry, second line. But when the music stop, move on. Cause I ain't coming home, they know I'm black like Jesus. But I ain't coming back for Easter, everybody cry. Y'all say goodbye, second line. But when the music stop, move on. Cause I ain't coming home, I'm gone. And now she on welfare. Lost said that they can't live there, so we ain't there. And life ain't fair, but the food free and the rent cheap. His roaches where you sleep. He still came around and taught you baseball. Bought a Barbie doll, he raised all of y'all. And now the kids adults, they both up in the court. She want that child support, he on that child support. But he ain't never taught him baseball, and she ain't never bought him Barbie dolls. They both never there, no, never, not at all. Saying, well, pull your pants up, go while your ass out. They looking back saying, why, y'all ain't ever in the house? You got it backwards, don't you? I'm saying, cause we still preaching unity. And it's supposed to be family first in community. Got it in church to $1 for your blessing. We made in God's image, thinking we're Satan's mind. They got us crossed up, now Judas is Caesar. America bury me, but I ain't coming back for Easter. Yeah, they know I'm black like Jesus. But I ain't coming back for Easter, y'all say goodbye. Everybody cry, second line. But when the music stop, move on. Cause Cause I ain't coming home, they know I'm black like Jesus. But I ain't coming back for each to everybody cry. Y'all say goodbye, second line. But when the music stop, move on. Cause I ain't coming home, I'm gone.
All right, what's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. The subscriber died trying. You see the thumbnail. Sellouts versus Soldouts. So, using this situation with Coach Prime as a reference, sometimes in our community we say people have sold out. They sell us out, you know, and then, but we don't want to address when people in the community have been sold out and then they move on. So I'm using this as an example as a bit of both, because first you want somebody like, I get it. Coach Prime said, "Man, look, I ain't leaving." Like initially he was like, "I'm gonna be here," and that's what he said when he first got there. Now he's gone. 3 years later he's gone, and people are like, man, he's not true to his word. But could it be selfish? Possibly. But also, could it be that in those 3 years, he went above and beyond for people who didn't return the favor? So he's like, you know what? Gotta go. Because the things that that we think about with people who are sellouts and people who got sold out is kind of a different thing. I can't, he's supposed to be down for the culture and the black people, and we supposed to help each other build and grow. And I get it. I get that. We're supposed to work together. I get it. But here's the problem. When you want somebody to come back to the community and uplift the community, empower the community, and infuse new life into the community, infuse winning and growing and making money into the community, you forget something. We forget something. That there are people in the community that don't want that. They like it the way it is. See, let me say it, and excuse me because I'm still kind of sick or whatever. But when the guy's broken his office and stole his stuff the first time, they got his stuff back, but that's being sold out. Man, you know what I'm saying? I heard he coming to town, and I heard he gonna be here. Well, I'm gonna rob him. That's somebody who's a sellout. But he stayed. Excuse me. Oh man, hold on. I'm still sick, so excuse me. But when they stole his stuff, that's a sellout. The first time. When they had the game and they stole his stuff again, that's a sellout. The second time. When they broke in his son's car and stole his stuff, sellout. But we don't look at it like that. That's just what happened. You can't ask for people to come and help out and help make it better, and then just go, man, that happen all the time. You know what I'm saying? Forget it. So it's like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. This is what we're gonna do. No problem. I got you. So, and then, you know, he's leaving for the white folks to make more money. And I get, you know, the SWAC and HBCUs can't compete financially with the quote unquote Power Five. I get it. And when we talk about Power Five, I ain't talking about all predominantly white institutions. I'm talking about the Power Five, you know, SEC, Pac-10 or Pac-12, whatever they want to call it now, the Big Ten, ACC, and I'm missing that other one. It used to be the Big 12, whatever the other one was. I don't care. But the Power Five. So now, you know, you can't compete with those schools. Now you can probably compete with, you know, United States Conference, you know what, Louisiana Techs and University of Houston's and, you know, technically Louisville and all that other stuff. Guten Tag, you know. But the rest of them, Whew. So now I got to get to this other part. But if we can't compete financially, that's one thing. But if you're irresponsible with the money, why am I going to stay? See, one thing HBCUs have a bad reputation for is mismanaging money. Now, let me be fair. HBCUs get screwed by the government. You know how they fund other schools? They don't fund HBCUs like that. It's kind of like, you know, if they spent more money in Ukraine, like HBCUs are supposed to get like 45 billion from the government, right? And Joe Biden dwindled it down to 2 and sent 30 to 120 to Ukraine. But even when the HBCUs are supposed to get 40 billion, somehow that money don't necessarily get to the HBCUs. So they get a portion, but they don't get all the bread. So with that being said, you already know you need to be more fiscally responsible than other places. Because do other schools steal money? Absolutely. But they have a better reputation of maintaining the campus and building the campus and expanding the campus. Not even expanding, but renovating. HBCUs don't have a good reputation of renovating. Man, how long that building been there? That building been there 50 years. Haven't they been collecting money for 50 years? Yeah, but you know what it is. That's a problem. So when you say, you know, man, Coach Prime sold us out. He a sellout. He went to the white man. Y'all don't never call these presidents of these colleges and these CFOs of these colleges and call them sellouts. I went to 2 HBCUs. I've been on the campus. You know, I went to Southern, I went to Texas Southern. Thanks, no. I went to Southern, I went to Texas Southern. And Southern is really the biggest HBCU, you know, as far as, you know, population is concerned. You know, but I've been on Grambling campus. I've been to PV. PV is nice. I gotta say that. You know, like I said, with the TSU, where else I've been? Shoot, I've been a few other colleges. I've been to Mississippi Valley. You know, I don't think I've been to Jackson. No, I've been to Grambling. I don't think I've been to Jackson or Alcorn. Now that I think about it, I don't think so. But they don't keep up the campuses like they should. They had a reputation of not keeping up the campuses. And here was the issue. The sports program generates a lot of money in college. So here's the problem. When your school is winning and you stacking money, that's when you're supposed to be stacking money, because when your program is winning, you're supposed to go, okay, man, we selling out the stadium. That's dope. We selling out merchandise. Oh my goodness. And now people are wanting to, we're growing in enrollment. So money. But then when that winning streak ends, you should have enough money to, okay, we renovated this, we renovated that. We beefed up how the campus looks. It looks prettier. We got better dorms. You know what I'm saying? We got better. We renovated these classrooms. We got better classrooms in here. That's what we talk. We got a better cafeteria. Okay, we cooking now. We doing it now. We got better parking, better this, better that. But they don't do that like that. They don't do it in a timely fashion. So then years go by because when you were winning, and you were raking in loads and loads of money, you didn't put that money to the side like you should have and use it properly to keep it going. Because this isn't the first time HBCUs have got attention and have got an influx of money. So I'm going to get into it with this other part right now. Think about it. If Deion Sanders say, if Coach Prime say, hey man, I'm going to need some more money, and they say, I don't got it. I remember the interview when he was talking about, you know, when he's trying to figure out what's going on, because if the ticket sales are short, you know, they say the how can I say this? If the stadium holds 50 to 60,000 people, and he's like, okay, and the revenue is like 28,000 tickets is, you know, the money from 28,000 tickets is missing. That's a problem. Where did the money go? And it's like, yo, I can't even stay, because even if you couldn't afford me, you could, if you were handling your business properly, you could give some revenue shares. Okay, so you winning, you selling out. How about, you know, we pay you this salary, but we give you 5 to 10% of the revenue shares. That should keep you here. And even though that doesn't pay us, it might not even pay as much at the end of the day as a quote unquote Power 5 school. But the gesture would be, shoot, I'm in here because I've been donating my money to the school anyways. I've been bringing sponsors. Yeah, okay, now y'all kicking something back. We can make something work. We can make something work. It's no way, because I can sell out stadiums. I know how to win. I know how to recruit. I can keep bringing people in. We could grow this thing, and it can get bigger and bigger and bigger. And if you keep winning and it gets bigger, the revenue gets bigger. So a person is willing to work with that. But is that selling out, or is that being sold out? When you go, I don't know how she, you know what I'm saying? We can't do anything with this money. You can't even give me a revenue share? No, we can't do that. Interesting. Do you see all this Jackson State gear running around here that people are wearing? All these people ain't from Mississippi. You got people in California to New York wearing a J on them. Got that tiger, got that blue and orange on them. How much is this merchandise selling for? What's the kick on that, huh? How much all these flags going for? Because I don't know if y'all know, like I said, I went to 2 HBCUs. And I remember when I was going there, Southern was constantly winning in the SWAC. People didn't realize how many Black people supported HBCUs. It was ridiculous. Like, they'd be driving in caravans from Texas all the way to Florida, you know, in caravans, just bah, 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 bah. You know, yeah, I talked about that. But you had the flags, you had the plates, you know, the license plates and the license plate holders. You got the jackets. Like, you know, if anybody has watched my channel for a long period of time, you know, what's up, George? I used to have pictures. I used to have a picture of me as a thumbnail. And if you look, a lot of those pictures had HBCU stuff. I had a green Mississippi Valley State jacket. I had a Tuskegee, what do you call that? Tuskegee sweater. I had a South Carolina State sweater. You know, I think I had a Texas Southern shirt. I might be missing something. I feel like I am, but whatever. But along the way, you have that revenue. You gotta split it up. Now, is that selling out, or is that being sold out? Because tell this true story. When I was headed to when when I went to New Orleans, because I was born in New Orleans, I went to New Orleans to see my grandmother, and then I went to college. When we drove from New Orleans to Baton Rouge on my first day, now anybody who's driven on the road, they know what I'm talking about with sometimes the radio station switch, you know. But alumni, I'm gonna get to that, Ryan. I appreciate that. I remember driving from New Orleans to Baton Rouge, and the radio station switches somewhere, you know, close to I want to say Gonzales or whatever, and the radio station switched. So we listening, and the first thing me and my grandmother and my mother was in the car. My mother here is a story at Southern of how one of the ladies that worked financial aid, she was taking the students' financial aid money and going to the casino with it. So she had got caught with like, it was such a long time ago, like for $50,000 to $70,000 worth of checks from students. So she out there gambling, and I think she lost at the casino, so she wound up going to jail behind that. But in all my, but I've never heard a story like that at LSU. I'm sure they got to have them, but that was my first day, like driving to the campus before I even, got a room, before I even registered. I'm like, geez, what's going on here? And I've watched it where I never forget this. I remember in a line when people are doing the school and doing the financial aid, and then they seeing how much money you got cash and how much money you got in loans, and then they can give you, whatever. There was this one guy in line, and they did the financial aid, and then they did his the cash that he had, and he was 10 cents short. 10 cents, a dime. And the guy, she was like, "Sir, baby, you a dime short. I can't do nothing with." So she wasn't gonna give him the registration, his schedule, nothing. She's like, "You a dime short." And he said 10, and he's sitting there like, "I don't even have." So he's looking around, can somebody give me a dime? Because I'm a dime short. And they talking crazy to him. They started kind of talking crazy. And then he looked, he said, "Listen, y'all trying to hold me up over a dime. Just give me a minute." And for all the students and the parents that was there looking like, somebody gave them a dime, but they looking at the people behind the counter at the school like, you disrespecting this young man in front of all these people, because they started talking to him reckless over 10 cents. And people are there with their sons, their daughters, their grandsons, and their granddaughters, and you can see them thinking. And then when we walk out, I see the parents and the grandparents like, so this how they gonna treat my child when I leave? That's a problem. That's a problem. So, would that be considered selling out or being sold out? Because, the lady could have been behind, baby, let me see if I got a dime on me. Or, hey, somebody back here got a dime. Or, hey, anybody in the line got a dime? He's a dime short. It's silly, but this is the rules. But instead of being like that, they would just flat out like, you a dime short with your broken, like it was like that. So at that point, people just like, this how, we treat each other. But see, that's completely different from the thug street thing. Now, getting to what Ryan was talking about, if half of the alumni donate $100 a year, they would be good. Not gonna happen. Like, even at predominantly white institutions, the alumni doesn't donate money like that. Let's just be honest. Like, think about all the people who graduated from the University of Oregon. You think they donated money like that to Oregon? No. But Phil Knight, I think that's Phil Knight, one of the guys who founded Nike, he gives the school a lot of money because that's his college. That's where he went. So a lot of these rich people, the people that people have to be rich and wealthy and give back to the school. You don't have a bunch of everyday people that are alumni colleges giving back. And everybody doesn't have a good college experience, so they don't give back. I remember laughing at my cousin because I was with him and his college roommate like 6 months ago, and they was like, man, I remember, we was in the dorms, and they had, it stunk up in the dorm room. We tried to figure out why, and it was like, what was the reason? Because they had dead rats in the air conditioning unit, like vents. So they had to take out the vent. They used to have the air conditioning units that you pull out, and they pull the mugs out, and then they find, in between the cracks or whatever, dead rats. Yeah. So for him, that experience, like, it soured him. It soured him. And my cousin went to a HBCU in the SWAC, and he wound up going to the NFL. But even him, he was like, some of his experiences just, he's like, man, he talks bad about it, but because he feels like, not necessarily the treatment of the coaches, but the treatment of the school, the school board body, and the people who control the money and supposed to make the school prestigious, how they treat the students. Like, man, I ain't helping them people. And it's not, and people think, why don't you get back to the school? And it's like, and I think he has donated. I'm not tripping. I think he has donated some money. He said I think one of the issues is with donating to these schools is because they have such a history of mismanagement that you scared, if I donate my money, where is it going to go? Like, I've literally been in the schools where the president, like, I remember when I was at Texas Southern, the president got in trouble for renovating her office. It's like a 7-figure renovation, like $1.5 million, and she got caught up on in that and got busted for that, misappropriations of funds. I think to a degree, the school almost lost accreditation, or did lose accreditation after that. And I remember her saying, like, I don't know why y'all only own me like this because I'm a black woman. So it was a black school. It was Texas Southern. But she's like, y'all only own me like this because it's Texas Southern. All these presidents do this. All the presidents do this. So it's like every president has taken the money and renovated their office for 6- and 7-figure amounts. And you're thinking to yourself, why would you need a 6-7-figure amount? And I was in college in the late 90s. So imagine you go to a school and it costs maybe at a time $1 million to $1.5 million to build a dorm. Because in the late 90s, $1 million to $1.5 million could build a dorm on a campus. Because you gotta remember, most college campuses are not in really the major city. They're like in smaller towns. So, it was cheaper. But you go to a college and it's $1.5 million to build a dorm, but you spent $750,000, $1 million, $1.5 million to put wood floors and expensive rugs and some type of high class desk and trinkets around your office. And it's like, that's a problem. That's a problem. So and now these are the people you go into, and it's like, and what I'm about to start to talk about is, I remember that I didn't realize that was 2000, 2002, 2003, something like that. They had a story in 2020. It was the same thing with a different president, Right. They to choose to. No, our Lord. Like, all HBCUs are D1. They're all D1. Well, like you said, I think I would say 90% of HBCUs are all Division 1. They're just Division 1 AA. So, HBCUs are similar to, where did Colin Kaepernick go? The University of Nevada, or what was wherever Trey Lance. He was like North Dakota State or something like that. That's basically what HBCUs are. They're smaller D1 schools. That's it. That's all they are. So but the population of Jackson State is Southern has the biggest population. Southern University has the biggest population. Probably after Southern, I'm assuming it's Florida A&M. I'm assuming, But are people sellouts because for moving on, or are they getting sold out? Now I will say one thing that and hold on, let me back up. That's why you can see an HBCU in the Final Four, not the Final Four tournament. That's why they're somewhere ranked at 16 or 15, because they made it through they won the conference and they're in the quote unquote, first elimination round of the Final Four. But let me back up. Now I will say this about HBCUs coaching wise, that something Prime did that doesn't normally happen. And and it's because it's Prime. It's because it's Deion Sanders. HBCU coaches, once you coach at an HBCU, you probably never get a job at a predominantly white institution. You probably never get a job at a predominantly white institution. Like this, people don't realize, because it's Deion Sanders, because it's Coach Prime. Coach Prime went from winning at Jackson State to Colorado, which is, right now it's lost. It's lost there as a program, but it's a known program. Y'all don't realize it, but that doesn't happen often. I don't think it ever happened, because they've been winning coaches in the SWAC and in the MEAC, but they don't never get, this person won over and over and over and over again. And, since they're winning big here, so maybe we should bump them up and see what they can do on this level. That doesn't happen. Usually Black coaches have to be an assistant coach or work their way up the coaching ladder at predominantly white institutions to get a job at a predominantly white institution or a Power 5 school. They can't, you got to win. They can't win at Alcorn State and then say, okay, well, since I won at Alcorn State, you know what? Southern Mississippi needs a job. There's a job opening, or the University of Mississippi is on a downtime. So let me see if I can, coach at UM. They don't never go down, ever. So that I can recall. Like, so it's not necessarily, that step up says something for a lot of the coaches, but even the coaches gonna go, man, the only reason he got that job because it's Prime. The only other two coaches that could probably do that is, the Eagles head coach that won a Super Bowl, coached at an HBCU. You talking about Doug Peterson. I got you. Doug Peterson. Now, I would bet. I'm going to look it up. My bad, bro. I didn't mean to do that. Because, but you said, but he's white. Yeah, I get it. Let's look up his coaching history. God, dog, you got a Wikipedia this dude? Okay. I hate when they do that. No, he did not coach at an HBCU. He coached at Calvary Baptist Academy. That's what it says. Well, let me go down. Calvary Baptist in Shreveport. And he went from Calvary Baptist in Shreveport to the Philadelphia Eagles. That's what happened. Doug Peterson, Calvary Baptist, Academy, 2005 to 2008. Offensive quality control coach in 2009 to 2010 to the Eagles. Quarterback coach 2011 to 2012. Offensive coordinator 2013 to 2015 in Kansas City. Head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles 2016 to 2020. That's folks, yeah, I was there. You know, run back, I was there because I was running track. I was getting in trouble with the coaches on the track team. uh, I was there. I had to be in a prop program and they ain't let me play. Because I came to Southern to play football. I was there 97 through 99. And the track program was popping too. You know. So and they're about to fire Eddie George. But Eddie George can, and at any time Eddie George can say, okay, well, shoot, y'all gonna fire me here? No problem. Eddie George could get, well, he could go to Memphis. He can go to Tennessee if he wants to. He can go back to Ohio State if he wants to. I wouldn't fire him if I was Nashville, but if I was TSU, but that's them. So, but that's the issue with selling out and getting sold out. So let me fast forward this thing a little bit, because I'm gonna say something that people we don't recognize. What about Herm? I don't know. You put else in the chat about what you're talking about with Herm. I know he's somewhere, but I forget where. I know Hugh Jackson is at Grambling. The SWAC and schools in the SWAC have YouTube channels. Do you realize it right now? It says I got 37 people in the chat. Do you realize when Mississippi Valley State has a game, I have more people in the chat right now than they have? What does that say? I'm pretty sure the HBCUs have a channel. The guys there, he has all the memorabilia up in the background. Because the students that are there don't necessarily watch the channels, because 9 times out of 10 students are there. You know, the students, you get to go to the football game, you get to go to the basketball game, you get to go to the baseball games and the track meets. You know, you get to go there because, you know, you're part of the school, which I got to get to the other part with backing up. What Prime was talking about, the ticket sales being messed up. This is the problem. No, it's not poor marketing. I'm going to tell you, like, you know what? I think this is where, and you made me think about something, Ryan. This is where us as Black people, we got a big issue, because we'll say, yo, we need to support Black people. We need to support Black businesses. Black people need to look out for each other. Black people need to, you know what I'm saying? We're not, you know, we need to support people. We need to represent for the culture and this, that, and the third. But our culture isn't an extreme. We'll support the screw ups, you know, and we call the Pookie and Ray Ray types, right? We support them. We'll support the athletes and entertainers. We'll support them. But those people in the middle, and, you know, thus being the college students, the military type folks, you know, the working class Black America, we don't support working class Black. We support success and we support failure. We don't support consistency. So that, like that, but we ask for it. We ask for, hey man, we need somebody to come here and do this and do that. We need real type of people to do this, that, and the third, but we don't, you know, we don't support those kind of people. And that becomes the issue, you know, because it's not a marketing issue, in my opinion. It's if you get on your phone right now, you get on social media, 9 times out of 10, people in our community are gonna gravitate to some BS. If you're a guy, you could have supported Black men and women doing positive things, and you could share it on your timeline. 9 times out of 10, you're looking at thick chicks who doing softcore porn. You know, might be listening to some music or some funny thing. But if you see somebody actually with a product, and it's like, you know, it kind of turns into, you turn into Kanye with Sway, but it ain't Ralph though. So let's just move on. And then when people, man, how come these businesses don't survive? Because we don't support it like that. You know, we don't support it like that. And, you know, that's the issue with the quote unquote HBCUs, but that's the issue with us as a community. Because when we talk about things like, and keeping with the title, Sellouts versus Soldouts, I would say people think the talented 10th, the Black intelligentsias, sold out the Black community. Like they got to their level and they said, F y'all, they Rick James, F yo, progress. So that's what they did. But people forget, the vast majority of Black doctors, lawyers, I would say engineers, anything that's in the STEM field, goes through the vast majority goes through the HBCUs. Whether they graduated from there or they went to there before they went somewhere else. The vast majority of them go through that. So all of our quote unquote, we need more lawyers and doctors and accountants and this, that, farmers, they go through HBCUs. But the problem with that is we act like they don't exist. Yeah, it's all good. It is what it is, let it be, Yeah, we know we're supposed to support them, but they straight the dentists, HBCUs. A lot of times, nurses, there's a lot of nurses that actually go through HBCUs. And see, and before and one of the things, and I appreciate you saying that, Ryan, because one of the things we believe is, the white man's ice is colder, right? So white people do it is better than Black people. So HBCUs got smarter, but we got dumber. Because I don't know if y'all know, but I'm going to say this. HBCUs are cheaper than predominantly white institutions as far as cost. But there's a lot of HBCUs that are basically a sister school to a white school. See what I'm saying? So you could go to, I don't know if it's true for this school, but I'm going to use it as an example because I don't, but you could go to a school like Florida A&M, which is like right across the street from Florida State. And and they have curriculums that match, right? So if you graduate from Florida A&M and you get your degree from Florida A&M, you can get 2 different degrees. You can get one from Florida A&M and pay an extra $100, $200 to get another one from Florida State. So if you ever have a problem, and if you think because of your race or the school you went to, you're gonna have a hiring problem, you could just use the Florida State degree. See what I'm saying? Because there's certain programs that at HBCUs that match, that they're basically together, because most HBCUs use the same curriculum and books as the predominantly white college next to it, or around the block, or a block over, or half a mile over. Southern uses the same books as LSU. Literally. If all you've been in college, y'all know what I'm talking about. When you go to those bookstores to rent your book for the year because you don't want to buy them because they cost too much when you buy them, they'll tell you, this the book you need. And why is the book so sold out? Because it's people from, the white school, the Power 5 school, the Ivy League school, and the HBCU need the same exact books. Thank you. Tennessee State, it's School of Vanderbilt. So if you get you know what, I don't want to go to HBCU. Okay, well, it's cheaper to go, and then you can get a Vanderbilt degree. Hello. If you go to Prairie View, you can get a Texas A&M degree. Just saying. But a lot of people don't, so a lot of people mentally, we go, but you got to get an education like the white folks. A lot of HBCUs have great educations. They have great education. It's just, dang, it's the only school. And look at that. They refuse to raise the tuition, but but you still treat the people that bad. That's giving everybody an opportunity. Everybody an opportunity. And but sellouts are sold outs. Now sometimes people trip on HBCUs because sometimes with certain schools, what you need to get in, the bar ain't as high as other places. Other places you might need a 3.0. HBCU you may need a 2.5. But HBCUs have an understanding of America and how schools work. Exactly. So sellouts versus soldouts. I don't know about that. I don't. You know what? I went to TSU, but I don't know if they did that with that one. Usually, if they can't be exact, what they'll do is say, because TSU has a great Texas Southern has a great pharmacy school, like pharmacy, business, and I think law. Because Southern has a good law school too. So say if they can't do it the whole way, they'll do it with those three, you know. So for all y'all people who need to get it together, that's what it is. Some schools have two, right? So a lot of people don't realize, you know, because I know the pharmacy school at Texas Southern is the medicine. Their medicine is just they good with that. But because I forget, because one of these, I think Prairie View has like a nursing school. So like it's a lot of these schools, people don't, it's like, because they've evolved over the years, but a lot of people don't realize you go to schools for specific things. Like being in Texas, people would think, you know, if you go to Rice is basically an Ivy League school. But if you want to go to business school, you could go to Texas Southern. But I think the best business school in Texas is probably what's his name? I think it's Sam Houston. I want to say whatever the one is in Nacogdoches. I think it's Sam Houston. Like their business school is like top notch. You know, because people go, you know, you went to them, you went to this school. What would you go for? I went for business. Oh, well, you real. That's the same way HBCUs work. You know. Thank you. There you go. So, sellouts versus sold outs. Exactly. You know, PV is kind of the same way with engineering. So, backing up a little bit, what winds up happening over time is people don't realize that, you know, we gravitate to the BS, but then what happens when people bring structure, like Crimson Cure will talk about structure and order. When you get people that come to the place and they bring structure and order and they infuse it with something, you gotta take care of them. And a lot of times, we say that people sold us out because we didn't take care of them. You know, some people are mad at Prime sold me out. He said he was gonna do this because you didn't take care of him though. And let me separate these things. And hopefully, you know, most people in Black America understand where I'm going with this when I started doing it. In Black America, we want the unity and the grow and the build. But just like anything else in America, the people the people, like I would say, I think Prime probably loves the people in Jackson, Mississippi. The people of Jackson, he got love for. I'm pretty sure. You know, he didn't been to the restaurants, the barbershops, and met with this person, to that person, to the Walmart, to this place, to that place, had a good time with the people. So a lot of times, it's the people who feel sold out. Because the people's like, man, I thought we was good. Like you came here, you showed love, I showed you love, and you just gonna leave me hanging high and dry like this, man? Come on, man, I'm gonna miss you. That's how the people feel. But when you go to the bureaucracy or the people you might be necessarily doing business with, a lot of them people have sold you out because they'll lowball you. They'll lie to you. They'll manipulate a situation, and now you fall out with them because, you know, they're trying to play you, and you figure it out. And you're like, I don't need this no more. But then they turn around and the people go, man, you being fake with us, man. You just gonna leave us like that. And it's like, no, I'm not being fake with you, but you don't have to deal with them. I don't want to deal with them no more because they're not doing right. And a lot of times those two groups don't even hang out. Like, quote unquote, the talented 10th don't necessarily hang out with the Black community as far as people. So people don't realize when they're dealing with the quote unquote talented 10th, the people in the Black community don't realize the effortry that they're doing. You know, of fixing it. All right. that's the, truth be told, the number one thing we need to do to fix these situations is, what needs to happen is we need to have oversight. Like, if you're at an institution, if you're at a business, just like any other business, you need to say, this is where, okay, this person came in right here. This is how much the school made. This is how much they owe. So this is the bottom line. Maybe they're in the black $1 million. Okay, maybe they're in the black $5 million. Maybe they're in the hole $1 million. But when you get there, this is the situation. So after that, you track that situation. You track that situation. So you say, okay, this person was here for 5 years. We were in the black the 5 years that they were there by $1.5 million a year, which would be $7.5 million. So out of that $7.5 million, now we got to see what that money was used for to create a better environment to make the school better. Because if you make the school better, then you make it, you make more people come. And when you make more people come, you make more money. So does this person better the school in 5 years, or this person worse than the school in 5 years? And you got to see where that money go. Because a lot of times we're letting people we're letting people like put people like Prime on the front. Like, yo, this person came, they infused vitality into the school. We just made, $15, $20 million. This is more than we ever made. And they say, okay, can I get a raise? We can't do nothing for you, boss. Okay, I'm out of here. And then they go, you sold us out. And they sitting there counting the extra money. When the president of the school got a $100,000 car, because that's what normally happens. The president in schools, he sold us out. And then the next thing you see, this fool riding around in a Mercedes. Where you get that money from? Because your salary is such and such and such and such. Now you just dropping down payments or paying in cash. So that it needs oversight. It needs oversight. Something as simple as, and I would say it this way. What will really fix the problem is paintings. And just paintings, like paintings, pictures or paintings. You should have a painting of, say, the president, right? And how the school looked when they got there. And then you should have a painting of how the school looked when they left, when they were done. And then when the next president comes, this is how you got to school. This is how it looked when you got here. Put another painting. This is how it looked when you left. And you're going to see in them paintings if the school is going up or down and who did what. Because, a person's going to inherit a good situation or a bad situation. So if you inherit a good situation and it looks better, then when you're done, you did right. But if you inherit a bad situation and it looks better, you did right. But if you inherit a good or bad situation and you make it worse, you the problem. And people could see it. Like people, the whole city don't have to go even look in the books. People could just see it like, look at it. Look how it look. Look good on that one, don't it? It started out ugly. It finished pretty good. Look at it now. It started out good because that's how they got it. Finished pretty ugly. That person right there messed it up. Look at this person. Got it messed up, fixed it up. That's what I'm talking about. This person got it good and it made it better. That's what I'm talking about. Because a lot of times what happens in our community is, since there's no lack of oversight, nobody actually tracks if it's getting better or not. Nobody connects who made it better or who made it worse. They just point at somebody who you wanted to be, I want this person gonna be the savior. And then when they move on, they sold us out. But you didn't have 5, 10, 15 years of just mediocre or below. And now when you got an influx of success, then you go, oh yeah, you gonna leave it? We doing so good because people are fans. People want to represent where they from. Like, let's be honest, like a lot of, and I say like football fans, a lot of you people are Patriots fans because the Patriots was winning. Y'all wasn't Patriots fans when they was sorry. Y'all you know, after the 80s, they dropped off a cliff. They was in the Super Bowl in 85, and then they just dropped off a cliff for years. Y'all wasn't really Patriots fans then. You know, then they got Drew Bledsoe, and then y'all started, and then Tom Brady came and they started winning. We Patriots, man. Stop it. You know what I'm saying? Just like a lot of y'all, you know, a lot of y'all wearing Memphis gear. Ja Morant. Y'all wasn't Memphis fans when Memphis was, that really wasn't like that. But it's the same thing, you know, it's the same exact thing. Like taking for using Tennessee as a reference. Take the University of Memphis. You know, what it used to be, something else. It used to be the Memphis State. It used to be Memphis State. That's when Penny Hardaway was going. Penny Hardaway put that school on the map. And then Isaac Bruce went there. And people and then the football program kind of like, they got football players. And then it was D'Angelo Williams. D'Angelo Williams went there. And it's like, oh man, who is this? So, but I'm using him as a reference because when it was Memphis State and Penny went there, the ticket sales went up. The advertisements of the school went up. There was jerseys everywhere. People used to walk around in the 90s with these 25s on, the Memphis State jerseys. Nobody would know. Same thing happened with UNLV. People was walking around the Augment jersey because there was fire like that. You know, yeah, appreciate it. Okay. Huh. Ooh. Ooh. Because another thing you got me thinking about, when the Black Fires get, when it's Black Tuesday and all the Black coaches get fired, you know, one thing that the HBCUs probably should do is recruit on Black Tuesday. But, you know, Black Monday, whatever it is, when the Black coaches get fired, Black Monday, Black Tuesday, the next day, say, man, you got a home here. Come on down. They don't want you, we want you. You know, that's something that the schools could do. Because I remember when I first got here to Texas, Upward Mobility, Willow Ridge was the basketball team, and they won the state championship. And they had like 3 players that went to the NBA. I mean, it was TJ Ford, I forgot McFarland, and Daniel Ewan, I want to say. Or Danielle Ewan, whatever it is. He went to Duke. TJ Ford, I think, went to Texas. McFarland, I think he went to like Oklahoma State or something like that. But they all went to the league, if I'm not mistaken. But that coach started coaching at TSU after that. You know, what up? And then, but I don't even know where he's coaching now. But that becomes the issue. You know, when people win and they try to take that winning elsewhere, it's difficult, especially for Black coaches. Because when you brought up, I forgot who that was earlier that brought up that Doug Peterson was coaching at HBCU, and he went from that small college to the Philadelphia Eagles. That's something that doesn't happen with Black coaches. Hold up. Yeah, Thurman Thomas went to Willow Ridge. Yeah. You know. Exactly. Well, most HBCUs are actually ran by Black people. The problem is, you know, and I'm gonna say, yeah, thank you, Lorenzo White. I forgot about it. Right. One of the things that about the HBCUs people don't want to say is you got a lot of older Black people who seem to come off with a mentality that, you know, since I ain't got much time left to live, I'm gonna get mine, and it's at the expense of the youth. You know, and I had this conversation, and this part about selling out, like there are a lot of older Black people that have sold out young Black people because, you know, they've worked 20, 30, 40 years, and it's like they really feel like they haven't really had their just due. And now when there's an influx of money, well, it's time to be selfish and I'm gonna do me. And it's at the expense of the youth. But it's like, just in my opinion, and I hate to say this, I think that's part of the reason why people like drug dealers, rappers, and athletes and entertainers more than they like, college presidents, because they have a bad reputation of doing people worse than drug dealers. You know, they have that bad reputation. I brought that up earlier, D. Weeds. It's not that. It's not that. When you think of predominantly white institutions and people who donate, you think of billionaires donating to the school. You don't think of people that's working 9 to 5s donating to these schools, and people go, "Oh man, yeah, yeah." That's what, like I said earlier, the guy that founded Nike gives money to Oregon. How many billionaires you give money? There's a guy in Texas that gives money to UH, but he's a billionaire. There's a bunch of billionaires give money to Oklahoma and Texas and Texas A&M because they're billionaires. There's not a sometimes we make it look like if you went to if you went to UCLA and you wind up working at Starbucks, because a lot of people go to college now and they wind up working minimum. They're not sending money back to the school. They're not, hey man, you know what I'm saying? I'll get you some free coffee and here's $20 to the school. They're not doing that. It's usually the richest people. It's usually the richest people that wind up doing that. Rich people who went to Stanford, rich people who went to Cal, or rich people who went to University of Miami. And thank you. That's what I was about to get into. I'm sorry. One of the things about selling out and sold out, one of the things that we're not doing well, because HBCUs can actually be doing better as far as having talent and players. Here's the issue. One, a lot of HBCUs don't have the confidence to recruit because of all the schools they recruit against, because most of our families want our kids to go here, go there, go to the white folks. And so if somebody's recruited to Alabama and SEC or Power 5 school, the other schools are like, they're not coming here. But when you think of people who are like 3 stars or 2 stars, the guys from small towns, HBCUs can get them guys. They could. Like athletes, I feel you on that, D. The athletes you could get. Let me run this back to y'all for a second. Marshall Faulk, the NFL, went to San Diego State to play football. He could have went to HBCU. I know he could have. He just wanted to get out of New Orleans, but he could have went to HBCU. DeMarcus Ware, you appreciate it. DeMarcus Ware, the pass rusher that was on the Cowboys and Denver Broncos. He went to Troy State. That was in Alabama. He could have went to an HBCU. He could have. You know what I'm saying? It's not. But they don't. They don't know. HBCUs having a hard time of finding gems. The people that the big school didn't want. Oh man, I don't want you. I wish I could have so many, this person and that person. What's up? What was the guys? Oh, doggo. God dog it. Like when you see people going to small earth schools, they could go to HBCUs. I got people in my head, but it's so jumbled up. There's so many people I could name. But a lot of times when people go to small schools, people don't realize they could go. Like Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler went to Butler in Indiana. Jimmy Butler's from Houston. Jimmy Butler could have went to HBCU. He could have. Oh, I know Valley well. My cousin went to Valley, went to the league. I know. But here's the other thing about even Mississippi Valley. A lot of y'all don't realize that Deacon Jones went to Mississippi Valley. It was called Delta State back then, though. And that's the difference. Like when it comes to HBCUs, people don't realize the history behind it. People really don't, because I know. I know. Trust me, I know a lot. A lot of people y'all don't remember went to HBCUs. You know, that like dude that maniac, Darius Leonard went to HBCU. Ben Coates went to Livingston. That's an HBCU. Like most of the guys during in where Jim Crow was like on the back end, black colleges, they had to go to HBCUs if you was in the South. And what wound up happening was, you know, around the 90s to 2000, it started trickling down because all the people who went to HBCUs, they were able to go to those other schools. If you couldn't go to LSU and you didn't want to go to Southern if you was in Louisiana, you know, a lot of people went to like Nicholls State in Louisiana, you know, right. You know, you went to Nicholls State or University of Louisiana Lafayette. You know, it depends on where you at. It depends on where you at. In the South, they'll promote it. Somewhat in the Midwest, because like even in Chicago State is there. So it just depends on where you at. I don't think it's promoted on the West Coast, but on the East Coast, it's a little bit different because the HBCUs on the East Coast are a little bit smaller. You know what I'm saying? McNeese, thank you. Because say, you know, you might not want to go to Virginia State. And I think who went there? Charles Oakley or something like that. You might not want to go to Norfolk. I think it's dope. But and people don't know Livingston is a small school. You might not want to go there. You know, like right now, speaking of sellouts and being sold out, a lot of y'all, you know, North Carolina A&T, their track team is phenomenal, right? And people, if you don't know who their track team is, you know, that's the Aggies. Their track team is phenomenal. They got people in nationals. They got people who won national championships in track in the last 4 or 5 years. They're getting busy. They gonna have Olympians from that school. Before that, it was Tyreek Cohen, you know, Joystick, the football player, the small guy that went to the Bears and he got hurt. You know, he's from North Carolina A&T. But recently they had a city council meeting where basically the school makes money, the school generates money, the sports program generates money, and instead of rewarding the school and releasing the funds to the school for what they've done, the city's trying to take the money from the HBCU. So, you know, and with that, there's a brother on the board like I can't vote for this because y'all trying to take money from people for succeeding. Now, it was a brother that was saying that, but sometimes it's white folks and other brothers and sisters who kind of sell the schools out too before the schools could get the funds. And that's what I was talking about earlier with the government funds, quote unquote, with the schools. But when you selling tickets and people are traveling and buying merchandise, thank you. You know, you do have these city councils and city board meetings that really really leech and drain the money out of these schools. You know, so they'll sell you out. You've been sold out by them, but when somebody comes to try to work for the school, now you're working under duress because you don't have the funds, and they can't explain where the funds went because you already got jammed up by your government and your city council. And then you get mad if somebody builds something and leave. Now, the other thing, you know, people are like, well, you know, white people at these universities do you wrong. They do. And I think one of the issues is people feel like because white people pay more, black people will put up with more BS. Like they might do something egregious to you at a white institution, but they paying more than a black institution, so you just gonna suck it up and take it. And that happens. And you can say people selling out for that. And it's like, but the question you got to ask is, so you want this person to be paid less and screwed over at a black college, or paid more and screwed over at a white college? Which one would you take? Or you probably take the more money. It's a lose-lose situation. Like if the HBCUs treated people better, it'll be better. And the other thing is, for the parents, man, a lot of you parents sold these HBCUs out because you didn't want your kids to go. See, a lot of y'all, like, remember the football player a few years back, and I think he's finna go to the league this year. I hope so. When they had the viral video of the guy who chose to go to Florida, and his mama walked off on his choice, and she just got up and left, and he went to the University of Florida, and I think his name is Jacob Copeland. That's what it is. A lot of y'all like that with HBCUs. A lot of parents have been like that with HBCUs. Where you gonna go? You know, you know what? Boot it up. You know what's funny about that? And it's sad I gotta say this. I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna get to that. A lot of our parents and grandparents don't go there. You go here. You know, go get a good education over here. Them people and that people and this, and they will love you over there. And a lot of y'all don't realize, a lot of y'all done sold out y'all kids and sent them to white schools because y'all felt like the white ice was better, because some of y'all are colonized in y'all minds, and y'all wonder why your kids drop out of school or they go crazy. It ain't just the freshman 15 of gaining the weight. It's that they've been around so many white people and racism, they cracked up. Because I don't think a lot of y'all realize this about HBCUs in general. There's a reason why immigrants go to HBCUs. There's a reason why immigrants go, and it's because they crack up too under the racism. That's why you see, you know, Africans, you know, Indians, Asians, Hispanics, they'll be at HBCUs because they get around that racism and they start cracking up. It's like, I can't do this. They've been at those universities and tried to off themselves, and then they go to HBCUs, or their family will tell them to go over there. You know, you can get an education there, and it's okay. You know, build yourself up for the quote unquote white world. Don't just go down there and get jammed up. Yeah. Well, yeah, that happens, fam. That happens. You know, yeah. You know, white kids go to HBCUs all the time. They go, and that's the educational part of it. White kids go to HBCUs not just for quote unquote scholarships. They go for the price because their families know about the sister program. A lot of these people didn't graduate. There's a lot of people who went to HBCUs because, say, the University of Houston was $15,000 a semester, and Texas Southern is $5,000 a semester. Their parents like, let's see the education, let's see the programs, let's see if they match. You go in there, because white people who graduate from HBCUs gonna get jobs because they white. Then all of a sudden it doesn't matter, you know. No, I mean, you know, my older cousin coached at Colorado. He still live there now. So shoot, you know, Jackson State could win. You know, yeah, that's Southern, man. I went to Southern. You ain't gotta say Crosstown. That's Southern. You know, SSSU, F who FLSU. Like, I already know. You know, but a lot of this goes on where people are not really putting two and two together. They're not putting two and two together, and that's a problem. So now, you know, yeah. Oh, ooh, yeah. Houston Baptist. I think they changed it to Houston Christian. You know. Yeah. I know. You know, you gotta remember, man. JL, yes, I was born in New Orleans, boy. I'm from the 9, and I don't mind. You know what? We ain't finna get into that. What winds up happening after the fact is, if we promoting this stuff, we're promoting it wrong. Hold up. And boot it up. I almost forgot. I was like, wait a minute. People think you can't network at HBCUs, and that's not true. What happens with HBCUs is they don't let you know about the networking. And sometimes you got to let the students know about the networking, because how people network at HBCUs is normally Greek related, sororities and fraternities. Usually people network through their sorority or fraternity. But if you don't join a sorority or fraternity, it's like people are out in limbo. But the truth is, HBCUs got the same networks the other schools do, because I remember my younger cousin came to me about, how wanting to do stuff, He said, guys, see how you don't support a brother? See how you acting? See how you sold me out? Now you gotta subscribe. See how y'all act? You see how black folks act? But what winds up happening is all the internships, all the programs to get in the industries, the HBCUs have it. It's just that the people, if you're not in a Greek organization, you don't really float towards it like that. And that becomes an issue. If you want to work in the music industry, they'll hook you up. If you want to work in oil and gas, they'll hook you up. Like, real talk, anybody who don't know this, if you're in the South and you go to an HBCU, 9 times out of 10, you can work in energy. You can work in oil and gas, because they're going to come to, because they've been recruiting, Chevron, Shell, what is that? Phillips 66, Conoco. They go to these HBCUs campuses and find people to hire. They do that. They've been doing that since the 90s that I remember, because I went in the 90s, they was doing it. And they still doing that, through, right. That's what I'm talking about, fam. Brother Moses, what's up, though? What's up? That's all love. I got the best with folks. But that's what it is. Like, if you're in the South, you can work in oil and gas. You can work in the medical field, because so many HBCUs have medical programs. They're there to recruit you. All you got to do is handle your end. That's it. And the reason why I said music first is because a lot of y'all don't realize a lot of promotion happens on college campuses. So if you go to any really college campus and they have in that city is like a party city, 9 times out of 10, if you want to work in the entertainment field, you can do it. You have the connections, because homecoming, spring break, the concerts, the parties, the people that come and do shows, because a lot of y'all don't realize, like when I said earlier about these colleges and these HBCUs, they were like of a major city, and 9 times out of 10, they're in offshoot cities. You get what I'm saying? They're in offshoot cities. Like, Houston has HBCU, but that's not necessary. New Orleans has HBCUs. You get what I'm saying? But the biggest one ain't in New Orleans. The biggest one is in Baton Rouge. You get what I'm saying? So Jackson, Mississippi, not necessarily a big place. Alcorn, not necessarily a big place. Mississippi Valley, not a big place. Alabama A&M, it's not a, Alabama don't have big cities like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's that. Florida A&M is in Tallahassee. That's not Miami. You get what I'm saying? So I think the only major places I can think of that with the HBCUs is DC, Atlanta, Houston, where they're major, and they're major cities, because people consider Atlanta is a major city, and you got HBCUs in Atlanta. DC, that's Hampton. No, that's Virginia, it's Hampton, but that's the DMV area. But Howard, that's DC. You know what I'm saying? So Washington, DC is the capital. You got the school there. Atlanta's an international city, but you don't think of a HBCU when you think of Atlanta, though. You get what I'm saying? You don't. When you think of Miami, you're thinking of the University of Miami. You're not thinking of a HBCU. You're thinking about the other parts of Florida when you think about HBCUs. But, like, matter of fact, Chad Johnson. Chad Johnson went to Nashville is equals Tennessee State, but people don't think about Tennessee, as a when people think Memphis, You know, that comes after the 10 major cities. That's what I'm saying. You know, yeah, Bowie, appreciate that. That's on the east. You know, how do we? I can't, how we jumping have to be jumped. The whole DMV area is like great. It's like great. People underrate DC, the DMV college life, and the Carolinas college life. Like, I don't think y'all realize, like, the DMV college life is fire, and the Carolina college life is fire. Like, because there's so many there. Like, especially in the Carolinas, it's a lot of HBCUs in the Carolinas. A lot of them. So, and all the colleges, you know, North Carolina, it's like Tobacco Road kind of thing. So it's like, you keep going, if you keep going on that road, college, it don't matter. You go, you know, Duke, North Carolina, you know, right. I talked about A&T earlier. Like, but because of that, they throw a lot of parties, because a lot of times artists come to the smaller towns and make money. You know, the labels come to smaller towns and make money, because that's how, you know, if you can't get a show in, think about it. If you can't get a show in, excuse me, if you get a show in New Orleans, use Louisiana for example. If you get a show in New Orleans, you can do a show in Baton Rouge because you're on your way. You can do a show in Lafayette or Lake Charles, depending on where you're coming from. Or you can do a show in Biloxi or Gulfport, Mississippi, depending on which way you're coming from. You know, so it's dope. Like, that's why they stop off there, because they can go and get money at a big stadium, and then they come get a smaller bag, you know, in an hour. Because I like real talk, like, and when I say, because I'm just using entertainment as a reference. When I was at Southern, in 2 years, the 2 years I went, because I went 2 years and I transferred, we saw DMX, Foxy Brown, Genuine, the Hot Boys, Cash Money was there, Scarface was there, what is it? Shanice was there. I'm missing somebody, boy. I'm missing somebody. God, I'm missing somebody. Like, this was like when they was just jumping off and popping. Like, I want to say Usher, but Chico DeBarge was there. That was in 2 summers, like 2 years. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah. That's the other thing about selling sellouts versus sold out. I heard a rumor that Coach Prime, Dion, reached out to the celebrities and said, "Hey man, could y'all break me off some money to match to keep me at Jackson State?" And the celebrities was like, "Nah," basically. So when it comes to the upper echelons of the entertainment class, say, man, if you went down to Jackson State and you participated and you helped bump it up, I feel you. You brought more attention to the school, cool. And if you was like, I wanted to go there, but you didn't, and Dion reached out, "Hey man, I want you, see if y'all could raise some money for me." And you like, "Nah, I can't do it." But you still wanted to go there because you wanted to vibe, you full of it. Like Gilly and Wallow, they was there. They was there doing their job. They brought $1 million worth of game to Jackson State. Can't hate on that. Rick Ross was there. Can't hate on that. You know what I'm saying? Snoop was there. Can't hate on that. He was showing Memphis and Young Dolph a whole lot of love. Young Dolph passed away. You get what I'm saying? Can't hate on that. But man, some of y'all other cats, like, man, damn, that's a good experience. Y'all should have went down there. Y'all should have sent a little bit of bread down there, because whether y'all know it or not, a lot of y'all wind up wanting to send y'all kids, because a lot of, and this is when I talk about the rich, the bourgeoisie class. Yeah, I know they from Mississippi. I know, a lot of these rich people who wind up with their kids being raised in the suburbs, a lot of them, well-off folks, they wind up, there's a good portion of them that wind up sending their kids to HBCUs because they've been in the suburbs so long and they've been around white people so long, that for one, you got to get around black people to be comfortable with your people because you wasn't raised around them. For two, they dealt with all of the racism at the white schools and they need a break. And sometimes for three, because they need to go and see people who grew up less fortunate than them, who still got hustle and grind. So if you came up well and you lazy, you're gonna see somebody who didn't come up well as you and they out grinding you and out working you. And you need to see, it's really black people out here who ain't playing at a young age. So you really who got goals and dreams and aspirations at a young age, So you gotta put that in perspective, And sometimes it works out well, sometimes it doesn't. But a lot of times, you say, my daughter ain't gonna run through my baby. Hey man, but she gonna send her to a white school and she gonna be ghetto gang. Bro, you gotta make a choice. You gotta make a choice. But that's what happens. That's how it goes a lot of times. So that should be the group, that should want somebody like Prime now. And for the HBCUs, I'm gonna give you some game. The next time you get somebody like, if you ever get somebody like Prime again, because if I was y'all, I would, since Prime ain't there, if I would pay most of his staff, the staff that's there. Hey, we gonna hire you. You're gonna keep this thing running. And if Prime got an issue with somebody in Colorado, they can send him. He can send him here, and we're gonna keep winning. We'll figure it out. Because now we know better. We know we just can't, we can't just not pay these people because we're going to throw the baby out with the bathwater trying to get over. So keep that relationship and treat them guys well, like you should have treated Prime. And what's going to happen is you're going to keep winning. You're going to keep growing, and then if you keep winning and keep growing, guess what? You're going to make more money. And guess what else going to happen? More people going to want to come to the school. And guess what else going to happen? Because I'm about to be trifling. Brittany Renner ain't coming to Jackson State next year trying to find a young dude going to the league. That ain't gonna happen no more. The girls ain't gonna go, I'm gonna go to Jackson State because they got ballers out there. They got guys that can go to the NFL and then needing smart guys. I'm gonna go to Jackson State because of the notoriety. Now he's got a name. So if I get a degree from there, it's respected. They're not thinking long term. Sometimes you sell, you sold the black community out because you didn't want to think long term. So you got to think better, man. Think better. But you, man, excuse me, I've been rocking for almost an hour and a half, man. Let me get my butt out of here, man. And I want y'all to have a great day, man. I got to do some videos and upload some videos. So y'all take care. Like, share, subscribe, or die trying. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. Peace.
It looks like a job for Superman.
Do this,
spoken from the lips of the young or the old, fear of me.
Yeah, gotta put it all in.
And they are Superman.
All the way.
I guess I'm taking off the cake through the glasses in the trash. Being super is great, saving y'all is such a drag. Even God took a break, me I ain't coming back. I got one life to live, if you don't like it, that's your ass. Cause nobody saved me, plus when I walk, I'm just a peon. I could use somebody just like I'm the kings of neon. This world is cold as ice, mixed with salt, mixed with freon. They got me pissed off, but that's better than being peed on. For eons, human beings took kindness for weakness. When you constipated, you start to appreciate shit. Put before you life and death, and you just gotta choose. The kryptonite life means you still follow the rules. If your credit's messed up or your bills ain't paid, then it's getting disconnected. Can't nobody say the day. And I can fly, leave a building in a single bound, but I can't stand farewell to friends and I just fly around. My super friends in Justice League, only folk I kick it with. Kill Lex Luthor, so what, we had to finish it. Kids play games and adults play for keeps. And me, I play to win, but I ain't playing in these streets. And life is not a joke, then again it ain't this serious. Superman can say the day, but God can say the Superman. Saga of the kryptonite life Sellouts, come holler at me. I got an ice couch. Thank you for coming out. Listen, I knew you would like it because we made it. I'm so frigid and so fly.